All right, everybody, we are live with Sensei Chat. It is about to be the holiday season. Well, technically, where you are in the world, it might already be the holiday season, but Thanksgiving is close and approaching here next Thursday here in Americas, and I am excited. I love turkey. I love stuffing. Stuffing is actually my favorite. But what are we going to talk about today? Because that's why you're here. I am going to keep this a little bit shorter than usual chats. We're going to talk about the market first. But Thanksgiving is close and approaching here next Thursday here in Americas, and I am. All right, let me close that down. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go over the market, and then I'm going to get into the new node project that I have been talking about just out of both my mouth, my ears, everywhere I can in Cryptonairz. Our community has been working really hard to set up some nodes for this new project, and I think our community has found the next project where I think I will be able to make another 7 figures on nodes. Guys, if you don't know my history, I have made more money in the node business than probably a lot of people that you have met. I have made millions of dollars on and operating nodes in the crypto space, and I think I might have found the next node project that will help me make the next 7 figures. I will go over that with you, as well as I have the ISO updates here in the middle. We're going to talk about CBDCs right here, as well as Solana updates. I have some other crypto news, and you are going to get a sneak peek at my conversation with Jake Claver. He was at Ripple Swell. He was talking with all of the uppity ups, with the people that are building in the XRP ecosystem, and I asked him all kinds of really amazing questions. We have an hour-long conversation here where I ask him just really cool stuff. We talk about ETFs. We talk about Swell. We talk about proof of concept. We talk about when XRP's real utility will hit, what he thinks about ISO. There's so much stuff in this entire conversation. I'm just going to play a few clips for you here today, as well as we'll talk about the economy, as well as Steven Narioff released the 2 hours and 54-minute long conversation of him talking Vitalik about the restructuring plan for Ethereum. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I just want to welcome MMT. Welcome. You are first. I love you, brother. Kwame, nice to see you. Green Llama, great to see you, and everyone else that is watching. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market right now. Today we're a little bit red. Let's go ahead and refresh this. Bitcoin's down about actually, hey, we're coming up a little bit. We're down just a 0.5% here. Ethereum's down 2.7%. This could be news. People are getting into this Ethereum document and listening to this conversation. I've been able to maybe listen to about half an hour, and it's kind of eye-opening what you hear. Solana's up. It's about 41%, $61. Man, this was posted in Cryptonairz Discord, I think at like $15 a couple weeks ago. So congratulations to those who actually got in at the bottom and are, now kind of 4 extra money. Great, good for you. Avalanche has been pumping up 74% in 7 days. Great to see it. Chainlink is down a little bit here on the 7-day. Polkadot's doing pretty good. And the rest of the market, man. Casper. Oh my God. Casper. We are going to talk about Casper. Casper was mentioned inside of Cryptonairz below a cent. And now it's at 13 cents. That is a 1,300% gain since it was mentioned inside of Cryptonairz. I don't know what you're doing. If you are in the crypto space and you're having trouble gathering all of this information, you want a great community, there is a 7-day free trial to Cryptonairz for a limited time because it's the holiday season. 7-day free trial in the description of this video. Check it out. Come into the community, talk with the members, listen to the success stories of the members, be a part of it. We're growing, and it's just an honor to talk with these people and grow in this crypto space with these people every single day. Big shout out to my Cryptonairz community. I love you guys. All right. So I wanted to talk to you about Render. Render has been doing really nicely. Check this out. In the last 7 days, Render is up 43%. Look at this move here. This is really great to see. I just want to show you some screenshots. This was from 2/8/23. So but a little earlier on the year, you can see that we were talking about Render way back then. I even mentioned on 11/6/2023 that I had bought some more Render inside of the Cryptonairz community on November 6th. If you would have just bought with me on November 6th, you would have bought back. You would have bought back right here, right? So, wow. I mean, if this goes up another maybe 30 cents, you'd have been up 100%. So there is value. There is value in that community. You just need to come in and experience it yourself. I am done talking about it. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so there is the Cryptonairz shop. I have just uploaded 20 more designs. They are being put into the store. I've got Christmas stuff, AVAX, Solana. It's all coming. I got some new XRP shirts. This should be updated here in a couple days, guys. I'm not wearing one of my fun shirts, but yeah, this is one of my favorite shirts right here. I'm always wearing this around, even when I'm not doing crypto stuff. This is I just love the little astronaut holding the XRP, little XRP heart here. This is one of my favorite designs, and there's gonna be a lot more stuff coming to the shop very soon. If you want some cool gear, check out the shop. All right, so what node project am I talking about? I'm talking about Storage Chain. I have had the honor and privilege to speak with the CEO, Chris Dominguez. This is Chris. Chris, he has blown me away at every turn. I have talked with hundreds of project heads over the past few years. I've interviewed hundreds of projects in the Cryptonairz community and in the Twitter spaces. And I am blown away by this gentleman, okay? Let me just show you his background, okay? This gentleman, just in the past 10 to 12 years, he was the CEO and president of a company called Sodahead Inc. They dealt with, he's a CEO too, so he's CEO and president. Look at the companies that he dealt with. ESPN, ABC News, Good Morning America, LA Times, Warner Brothers Television. I mean, this guy has some serious connections, and I have very big and high hopes for Storage Chain. Right now, the Store token is trading just over 3 cents, 3.3 cents. You can take this, you can use collateral, you can set up nodes, and I have done that in a big way. I will show you how much I am in this project because I believe in giving you transparency, and I will give it to you right here. So you can see right now that I have a total investment right now of $72,000. And actually, I need to set up one more node. So this is actually going to jump up probably to $80,000 total. I have roughly about 40 odd thousand invested into this project. So I am already up on my collateral, sizable sum. We started talking about this project inside of Cryptonairz on October 11th. I actually started buying into this token on October 13th, and I will show you here on the chart. Let me just zoom in here, go down. This is October 11th is where I posted it here. And this green candle is me buying, and this green candle is me buying. All right. So I have been setting up nodes, and I am earning a return every month of 20%, as well as I get to keep my collateral. I have high hopes for this project, Storage Chain. I think it is going to be a monster here out in the decentralized storage space. If you missed Filecoin, if you missed projects like Arweave, and you're like, man, I do not want to invest in a project that's already at $1 billion market cap or $1.5 billion market cap. This market cap right now for this project is sitting at $350,000. So in 6 months, when this is gone on to do bigger and better things, I am going to come back and remind you of how I pointed this out over and over again, and I hope you do your own due diligence. I hope you research this. The reason why I think this is going to take off, and I think the reason this is going to be big, Google and Android, Amazon, you're paying enormous fees for storage. You can save 70 to 80% storing it with decentralized storage here with Storage Chain. They're working on their enterprise solutions. They should be releasing these solutions within a couple weeks, guys. And man, I cannot wait for Chris to use his old connections, his current connections, the people that he knows, to bring them in. They're going to be dealing in maybe the media space, the healthcare space, as well as maybe the television space. Right? He's got some connections with Warner Brothers here. I personally am speculating here. I hope he's got some connections with Warner Brothers. There's a lot of video and data that can be stored. He also told me something earlier. I had a meeting with Chris and Tim. Tim is another higher up in the Storage Chain. I'm working on a partnership with them behind the scenes. Can't talk too much about that, but they told me some very, very interesting things about partnerships that they are working on. And I think if they are successful in bringing these partners over, it can be very successful for this project. So enough about that. Let's look at this really quickly. I am not going to play these clips. I am still going through this and doing my own due diligence. This is 2 hours and 44 minutes long. I just got this morning, so I do need to do some extra due diligence over this weekend. I'm going to listen to this whole conversation. I'm going to take certain notes, and I'll put it together and we'll talk about it probably next week when I am more fit and sound to discuss this. But I am interested to hear all of this kind of stuff. But I mean, you hear Vitalik and you hear them talking about how, where they messed up as far as, selling Bitcoin early and Joseph Lubin. There's just all kinds of interesting stuff. I'll give you just a little bit of a preview on the conversation and then I'll move on.
So much as selling because, we want to have exposure to USD instead of BTC, and
that's Vitalik Buterin in the background talking. The person you hear slurping on a drink is Steven Narioff.
A lot of our payment is in fiat, so in the simplest approach, we just get the fiat. So we ended up basically. I kind of ended up trying to entrust Joe to the task of managing selling BTC, and he started doing it, but he was just doing it sort of 100 BTC here, 100 BTC next week, 100 BTC the week after that, and basically what happened was that he continued with his approach, where he was really insistent that Bitcoin would go way up after some period of time. So it would be smart for us to hold on to BTC, and a large part of the blame probably is on myself for just not being nearly pushy enough to resist him.
All right, so this is 2 hours and 44 minutes long. This is a Lord of the Rings pretty much movie long. So give me some time to get through it. I will bring you updates next week and we'll talk about it. All right. So also I did an AMA yesterday with Vela Exchange and AstraBit. I was very impressed with Vela Exchange. They've actually done $1 billion worth of trading volume on Arbitrum alone. These guys are very, very impressive. I was talking with Dan, who is one of the founders, and this is actually a pretty cool decentralized exchange. You're not supposed to be able to use this in America, quote unquote, if you have a virtual private network and you're logging on from outside of America, you can use this exchange. But this is pretty cool. Let me just kind of show you this. I don't want to get in the docs. Let me just show you the app here. You can do like one-click trading. There's a lot of analytics that goes into this. They have different events. It's just kind of fun to use. I'm just starting to kind of get in the swing of it and starting to use it. You can do leverage trading, which I don't recommend unless you're very, very smart in the crypto space and you know how to read a chart. But something to take notice of. If you're doing a lot of Arbitrum trading, this might be a good place for you to do that. And if you want some information, Vela Exchange, take a look at the docs. Trade popular cryptocurrencies, Forex, precious metals, isolated margin as we can continue to expand the asset range and from user feedback. It's kind of cool, man. Staking, trading, they got all kinds of stuff. And they got their tokenomics here you can take a look at if you want to kind of dive down deep onto this. All right, let's keep it going here. We're going to get into the ISO and we're CBDC news right now, okay? So good to see you, JP. What's up, my brother? Crypto Burger, nice to see you. Crypto institutions, great again. The BlackRock Bitcoin ETF will pump its price 10x. I'm actually, I talked to Jake Claver all about that, and we had a very interesting conversation about ETFs and what we think is going to happen in the market, man. I think you guys are really going to like it. This video will come out probably tomorrow. I think I posted the entire video in the Cryptonairz community so they could preview it early. If I didn't, I will do it as soon as I'm out of here and done with. But I'm gonna play those clips for you a little bit later on. It's interesting to hear what he says because I ask him all kinds of stuff because he was there on the ground at Swell and there's some really cool stuff here. But Hong Kong publishes crypto regulations November 2023 plus UBS DBS blockchain cross-border repo. So here's a new article that came out. In a significant move towards bolstering its position as a global virtual asset hub, Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission has announced guidelines allowing tokenization of securities and regulated funds. The circular issued on Thursday provides framework for regulated intermediaries, including fund managers, to issue tokenized securities described as blockchain-based tokens and represent an aim to represent ownership in an investment product. So you'd love to see these things happening in November, guys. I do think 2024 is going to be a great year for adoption for cryptocurrency as these big banks and these institutions are working with regulators to bring crypto to their customers, right? Tokenization, that is the word that is going to bring more value into the crypto space than any speculation can do. And that's what we're really waiting for. That's where the utility really is. This is about OCBC Bank, 18th and 19th, now scheduled for maintenance, guys. The world is moving forward with ISO adoption. Now, I still get people in the comments talking about, XRP exploding on November 19th. I've gone on to say this, and I will say it again. I do not think on the 19th, you are going to see a $50 or $100 XRP price. I know that's not what you want to hear. I am just being flat out with you. I listened to Brad Garlinghouse talk when he was at the Swell event. I listened to him talk at DC FinTech Week. U.S. banks are still hesitant on using crypto because there isn't quite regulatory clarity yet for digital assets in America. All right. So just because the ISO standard is being adopted, it doesn't mean on that day we're going to see huge uses for crypto. It can happen, but I personally don't. I think it's going to be a slower rollout. Okay. I would love to be wrong. And if I am wrong, you can say, Sensei, you were wrong, and you can point your finger at me, and I will apologize for being wrong. But this is my God honest opinion, and I'm going to share it live on this channel with you. Okay. So just more maintenance happening for ISO. And GateHub put this out on November 15th. Our new mobile app is finally here, and it's so let me just show you this real quick. This is 49 seconds real quick. Oh, it's got a dope beat. Oh, I didn't listen to this before. XRPL DEX, trade on ledger that never sleeps. Oh, that beat is sick. Oh my God, that beat just blows my mind. All right. I am a huge, techno, I was listening to techno music back in like the 90s. Like that's how long I've been listening to techno music. I was listening to it before it was cool, my friends. Okay. Bitstamp and GateHub. This is a illustrative example of the Ripple network. Each credit link is tagged with values where A donates the current credit and B donates the upper bound, right? So, man, I think this is a great partnership and, just gives more use case. XRPL Labs and GateHub join forces, adding on and off ramps for 14 crypto assets through XM, right? Such as SEPA, Swift, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. This is a big deal. Awesome. I love to see adoption. I love to see new use cases being built out. DBS scheduled maintenance on November 11th, right? I think we do kind of overplay this as other people on Twitter and quote unquote influencers or social media influencers. I think we are. I mean, the hype around ISO is really ridiculous. And I make a lot of videos about ISO, and I'm very clear about my opinion. Just, I think there might be a whole lot of upset people on the 20th. And my job is to prepare you for what's to come, not tell you what you want to hear. Okay. All right. New Ripple partner, Finastra plus FedNow promo video. I bet this doesn't have the dope beat that GateHub thing just did. I might have to go back and play that beat. It was so good.
Are you ready to seize the instant payments opportunity successfully and rapidly? Introducing Finastra Payments to Go, a core independent, cloud-based software-as-a-service payments processing solution enabling financial institutions of all sizes across the U.S. to deliver instant payments faster and more efficiently. By rapidly onboarding to a modern, scalable, and highly resilient platform, ensuring businesses and individuals can send and receive instant payments in real time, around the clock, every day of the year. Intuitive configuration capabilities, out-of-the-box best practice workflows, and use of business rules and data analytics give financial institutions the tools and insights they need to simplify, streamline, and automate payment processing and reduce operational complexity. Its comprehensive set of interfaces and open APIs, as well as certified direct access to both the FedNow and RTP networks, ensures rapid integration and interoperability, The modular and scalable solution is expandable and can also support Fedwire, NACHA, SWIFT, and Visa Direct cross-border payments. With pre-integrated real-time anti-money laundering and fraud prevention capabilities, leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning, the solution enables potential risks mitigation and compliance with regulatory requirements. Payments to Go customers can also tap into our growing ecosystem of fintech specialists and cross-border service partners to accelerate innovation, enhance customer experiences, and increase efficiencies. With over 15 years of experience in delivering instant payment services and hundreds of payment solutions deployed by leading financial institutions all over the world, Finastra Payments to Go is a proven solution you can trust to meet your demands of today and the innovations of tomorrow.
All right, real quickly, Robbie, let me see, who said this? Robbie R. You asked me about Joel Katz, David Schwartz, and R3. Let me see. I didn't see anything about R3 from David recently, but I can't be everywhere at the same time. If you can kind of direct me where that post is, I'd be happy to go over it with everybody. I know R3 did that proof of concept with Ripple and XRP a very long time ago. I know that a lot of us speculate about R3 using XRP. I mean, you do have a bridge. We're going to have to see. I mean, I do have some information about R3 here, right here in the chat. We're just about to get up to it, but let me know where you saw that, and I'll love to go over it. You have about 3 hours ago on Twitter. Let me see. Let us see, my friend. Okay, so 3 hours ago. We're looking right now. We're searching for this R3 announcement. Am I passing it? I'm just not seeing it, or what? Oh, Bob Way. Here you go. This thread from Bob Way on the history of Ripple's interactions with R3 is interesting. It doesn't 100% match my recollection, but Bob was closer than I was to him. So this way is more accurate than mine. So is this what you're referring to? Let me see. To my knowledge, all these are essentially true. Okay, hold on. So let's just go through this. So, okay, Joe Katz, would you please address 10 things the XRP community needs to learn at your earliest convenience? For this clarity in the space, I have nothing for sale to ask anyone here. 10 things the XRP community needs to learn. Swift does not use XRP. R3 does not use XRP. R3 does not use the XRP ledger. The XRP ETF is fake. There is no zero. There are zero CBDCs on the XRP ledger. Okay, we know. Well, you're smoking rocks. They're on private ledgers. FedNow does not use XRP. Well, I mean, through partners they can. FedNow does not use the XRPL. All right, so I think this person is just posting random stuff. All right, so sharing the futures. To my knowledge, all of these are essentially true. There are some small expectations, such as this one. Let's see here. R3, yeah, see, this is way back in 2018, right? This is way, way back, right? And this is what I was referring to, right? This was a proof of concept, all right? But I haven't seen any recent stuff about R3 using XRP. Yeah, this is years old. Years old. I mean, this came out before I was like in the crypto market. But hold on, let me see what else we got here. So Swift, yes, does not use XRP, but you might see XRP moving over Swift rails eventually. That's true. I mean, that's a fact. R3 does not use XRP. I mean, R3 has their own private blockchain. R3 does not use the XRP ledger. The XRP so this is the ETF that was posted. Actually, I asked Jay Claver about this, and he gave me a breakdown on it. But the ETF, the filing was actually taken down. It's not there anymore. I saw that just this morning. There are zero CBDCs on the XRP ledger, so they're on there are private ledgers right now that are being tested, over 30. FedNow does not use XRP. FedNow system, they'll be able to use XRP, like on-demand liquidity and things like that, through the partners like Volante, Finastra, and things like that. But FedNow itself, it does not use XRP. Fed now does not. XRP ledger needs to has more builders, less shillers. That's absolutely true. There's actually more. There's way more builders right now on XDC than there is on the XRP ledger. Riddlers have wrecked some people. That happens every day. Influencers have caused harm. We as influencers cause harm, especially when we post stuff like, XRP buyback of $10,000 and this kind of stuff. That just hurts the market. Okay. Yep. 3 hours ago. But he's referring to two of the statements. R3 are incorrect. So does R3. So R3 does use XRP. So Robbie, R3 has the option. They're going to have the option, but that is not their main settlement asset. They can use XDC. They can kind of choose whatever they want. They build out more bridges too. So, no, I think you might see very down the line Ripple try to buy R3. I've made that speculation, but nothing's set in stone, man. Nothing is set in stone. R3 is its own private blockchain, and companies, corporations, CBDCs are being built out on it. Now, it's tough, right? No, XRP is not the main asset for R3. No. Let's just leave it at that. ISO message, SMPG market practice over blockchain, DLT. So the DTI, which is the digital token identifier, is ISO 24165. You need ISO 20022 with ISO 24165. That is how you're going to be able to move crypto using ISO messages. Okay? I have to clarify this almost every single time we do this, right? Standards ISO on DTI, which is the digital token identifier. Okay? Deutsche Bank will, when will CBDC skyrocket and take off? This is dear valued clients, so it looks like it's like an inbox. Central bank digital currencies are on the rise. 3 years ago, there are mere 35 of the world's central banks that embarked on initiatives to develop their CBDCs. That number has grown to 130, okay? But understand this, my friends. Just because CBDCs are being tested in the background does not mean CBDC adoption is fully here. It's still going to take years. I know this is not what people want to hear, but it's going to take years. You're not going to see CBDCs in like the UK or the European Central Bank or even the United States probably until 2025, 2026, realistically, okay? Swift is updating their system with Transaction Manager, which will replace messaging with end-to-end transaction orchestration. Goes live for all ISO transactions November 2023, right? Like I said, just because this goes live with ISO does not mean it's crypto adoption, okay? Here you have the U.S. chips, right? March in 2025, U.S. Fed ISO migration, right? The real big money is when you really have ISO fully implemented across the world and banks actually want to use crypto to save money and do instant settlement. That's really when utility and adoption comes in. But you don't have the liquidity needed right now in the market, especially in XRP, to move trillions of dollars a day. You just don't have the liquidity needed. And I talk with that with Jake Claver, and he breaks it down. It's really, really interesting. Swiss CBDCs and DLT, the real Swiss franc, launches next month. Swiss National Bank puts CBDC into production for bond transactions, right? This is the wholesale side of it, right? This is really what you're seeing. Swiss National Bank to pilot wholesale digital currency with UBS and other banks. The Swiss National Bank said on Thursday it will start a pilot next phase using digital currency for financial institutions with UBS and I'm going to butcher this, Zürcher Kantonal Bank among those signed to take part. The pilot using a real Swiss franc wholesale CBDC will also involve 4 other commercial banks, and these are the banks. Okay. Now, I believe this is built on Quant, right? I think they're using Quant's technology to do this. And let me see here. Yeah, Quant. Here, check this out. I'll break this all down for you. Okay. So here's another article. They're doing this with 6 digital exchange, 6 banks on wholesale CBDC test pilot, right? And I asked Bard if there's any connections to Ripple with any of these banks. And Bard basically said that some of these banks are exploring the use of Ripple's technology, right? And some aren't. UBS has been a Ripple member since 2018. I can't even say this. I'm not even going to try. Hasn't not announced anything official. Comser Bank has been a member of Ripple since 2018. has also been exploring Ripple's technology. Bosler Cole, I can't even say it. But here, this is what they're talking about here. This is the project. Project, I think it's Helvetia. Let me turn on my AC. Hold on.
The Swiss National Bank, the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub, and SIX have joined forces as part of Project Helvetia to investigate how central bank money could be integrated into a distributed ledger technology-based financial market infrastructure. The project consists of 2 proof of concepts. Both test the functional feasibility of settling tokenized assets, which are traded and settled on the SIX digital exchange in central bank money.
So this is what the news article
is. In proof of concept number 1, the cash leg of the transaction is settled with a wholesale central bank digital currency, wholesale CBDC, issued directly onto the DLT infrastructure of SDX by the Swiss National Bank. As part of proof of concept number 1, 4 use cases were investigated. Issuance or tokenization of wholesale CBDC, redemption or detokenization of wholesale CBDC, delivery versus payment settlement of tokenized assets against wholesale CBDC, and transfer of wholesale CBDC or wholesale CBDC payment. In proof of concept number 2, interoperability between the DLT infrastructure of SDX and the Swiss RTGS system SIC is established, and the cash leg of the transaction is settled in SIC balances. As part of proof of concept number 2, 1 use case was investigated: delivery versus payment settlement of tokenized assets against SIC balances.
Let me just show you this real quickly, and before we move on. So BIS, Project Helvetia, R3 Corda, and Quant, right? So that is basically what this is built on. All right. R3 is delighted to have been part of Project Helvetia in collaboration with Bank of International Settlements and the Swiss National Bank and Sixth, right? So Corda. I think Ripple, so people think Ripple is going to IPO too, right? People don't understand that for Ripple to IPO, they need approval from the SEC. And under the current administration, after losing all of these different rounds, do you think Ripple is going to be able to IPO? Do you think they're going to get permission to do that? I think Ripple's IPO is still kind of far away, guys. Also, maybe not probably an unpopular opinion, but think about it, right? And why would you IPO in a down market, right? IPO is going to be stock, right? If the U.S. and the rest of the economy, so right now, the world is slowing down as far as manufacturing and goods and people buying stuff, and we're getting into this slowdown period, right? You had all of these rate hikes, and you haven't yet felt all of the pressure in that. If you look at factories in China and all the goods and exports and things like that, it's way down. It's way down, okay? And so you're not going to have Ripple, the company, that's going to want to IPO in kind of this 2024 down market. I think Ripple doesn't IPO until like 2025, 2026. I think they're going to wait for the economy to come back. But I could be wrong. All right, and then so Helvetia Phase 3, Swiss franc WCBDC settlements. This initiative, known as Helvetia Phase 3, marks the first instance orchestrating real Swiss franc WCBD for settling digital security transactions. The pilot will be hosted on the digital asset platform Exchange 6, a pioneering, fully regulated financial market infrastructure for digital assets based on distributed ledger technology. Okay? So that's what's going on with that. I thought this was interesting. JP Morgan, right? This is Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan. He told me something that I didn't know before. And I'm actually going to make a video on this for my YouTube channel because I thought this was very interesting. JP Morgan is working with a lot of fintech companies. And I thought maybe it was a dozen, a couple, but listen to this.
Jamie, we have a question from the audience of a big fan of yours. He says that if there is really a future for fintech startups, or will they be outlasted or out-innovated by banks?
Yeah, I think it's the wrong way to look at the question, like it's a binary answer. There will be some who will not survive. There will be some who are very smart and they have a great niche idea. There'll be some who are more than that. So at JP Morgan, we look at all the fintech. We also look at the big tech. We have competition effectively from Apple, Google, Facebook. And so there will always be survivors. And, our job is to make sure we're lean, we're mean, we're thinking, we're competitive. It's always better to assume that some of these people will be successful than to assume that they won't be successful. And, I've pointed out to our own management teams that there's some great companies out there that we could have built and we didn't, like Square and Stripe. And so, you got to be open-minded and a little humble about what's going to take place. Your size alone is not going to make you succeed in the future. If you don't believe me, read about the history of all large corporations.
So you see fintechs working with big banks around the world?
That's true too, by the way. We partner with 50, 60, 75, maybe even 100 different fintechs, depending how you define that, in terms of data and size.
JP Morgan is partnered working with 50 to 100 different fintech companies around the world. Wow.
Cybersecurity and marketing, and we have quite a few partners we work with.
Okay, and which are your perspectives of fintech for Mexico and the region?
He's like, I don't know.
Well, I'm not an expert in that. I do know that I've learned a lot traveling this region from fintechs, but I'm not quite an expert what's happening here. But I think my view is you're developing a tech sector here, including fintech. Like, in the old days, a lot of the technology was taking place in Silicon Valley or in Boston, but now you see it almost everywhere you go. There are tech and fintech companies starting to blossom, and I think it'll be great for all the countries it happens in, and it's happening here too.
Okay. Well, and also I would like you to ask about Mexican
All right, we're not going to get into the Mexican economy because I just thought that was a cool little bit on fintechs. All right, so let's talk about Solana. Solana surges amid altcoin rally, near triples its price over the past month. The price of Solana token jumped on Wednesday amid ongoing rally of altcoins and bullish remarks on the token. Token from famed tech investor Cathie Wood. Solana last high was nearly 18% at 65.65. It has nearly tripled in price in the past month. And if you were in the Cryptonairz Discord, you would have gotten in at the bottom here. The spike comes after a day of ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood applauded its performance in the last year. Solana is doing a great job, blah, blah, blah. All right. You also have FTX linked wallet shifts $13.5 million for the Solana as Solana rally takes a breather. Basically, you have these liquidators selling Solana into this market right now, and Solana's still pumping. So what happens to Solana after the FTX liquidators are done selling a Solana? I think this is kind of still holding back Solana price, but we'll see. It says wallets linked to the bankrupt crypto exchange FTX continue to move millions of dollars worth of Solana. As their tokens near 150% monthly rally, it takes a pause. On-chain analysis tool Peak Shield flagged that some FTX labeled addresses had transferred over 250,000 Solana, just worth over $13.5 million at the time, and $4 million in USDT stablecoins to crypto exchanges Binance and trading firm Wintermute. I never even heard of Wintermute, but interesting. So I wonder if they're going to keep selling. All right. Here comes the Solana. Solana high hits nearly high. So you're seeing this on a lot of different platforms, guys. Everyone's kind of just talking about it. I don't really need to read this whole article to you. All right. I wanted to, let me just move this back here. I wanted to show you this real quick. This is actually New York Times. Talking about cryptocurrency prices surge driven by potential Bitcoin fund. So the reason I point this out, right, there's one thing to look at a lot of crypto related news organizations or quote unquote news organizations. But when you see like New York Times putting stuff out and you have regular people reading this, I think this does shine a positive light on the crypto market as these funds kind of get in line to kind of be rolled out. Definitely not going to read this whole article to you, but I just wanted to point out that you are having some pretty big names in the United States, at least, talking about Bitcoin and the ETF. And there's a lot of speculation, that this is coming in 2023, but we'll have to see if the SEC approves it. I think is the 19th, the day that we're going to find out if they're going to approve it or not. If not, it goes into next year, right? So I think it's tomorrow. No. What is that? Thursday is 17th, 18th, 19th. I think it's like Sunday, Monday, they will know if they're going to approve it or not. USA lawmakers urge Treasury to revise proposed crypto tax rules, right? A group of bipartisan U.S. lawmakers have urged the Treasury to revise its proposed digital asset taxation regime. The group is backing crypto representatives and lawyers who have called the proposed taxation scheme dangerous and improper overreach. Chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, Patrick McHenry, the Mr. Bowtie, and Congressman Richie Torres led a group of 9 lawmakers in the effort of calling tax reporting requirement unworkable. So, we're still trying to figure out here in the U.S. what's going to happen. Crypto taxes in the U.S. are still kind of a hot mess, but the crypto tax rule was proposed in August, and the public comment period ended Monday after 124,000 comments. At a recent audio hearing, questions from officials to the industry revealed that the tax proposed may be open to revision. A final version is likely in the months ahead. So hopefully we'll see something in 2024. Avalanche pumps 14% after JP Morgan adoption. Bitcoin's Ordies props, I think this is Bitcoin's ordinals, pops 16%. So this talks about Avalanche surging, right? I think Avalanche, you're going to see an all-time high for Avalanche here in the next bull market, guys. I mean, Avalanche they've been building this whole time in the bear. Let me just pull this up real quick. Let's just show you this real quick. Man, remember like how AVAX used to be popping back in the day. Look at this, $134. Right now we're sitting at $20, right? And AVAX a couple weeks ago was at $10, right? So it's already gone up 100% in the last month. So I think AVAX is definitely going to just have a monster next bull market. And I have a little bit of AVAX. My AVAX bag is not anything, nothing crazy or nothing big. All right, so here's Kathy Wood. This Riz XRP saying very orchestrated transparency as our friend Brad Garlinghouse. Ripple has been open and transparent, right? And so this is Kathy Wood. She's really focused on getting her message out of proof. I guess ARK invests, her company ARK is actually second in line behind BlackRock to get an approval for the Bitcoin ETF. So, if they're going in order, Kathy Wood's company is in second in line.
Something has changed. So we had put in a number of times a filing, and we were just denied. Never got any questions, really never got any response. This time, this summer, we got questions back from the SEC. Now, normally when you get questions from the SEC, you're just saying, oh my goodness. We were thrilled to get questions back because it means they're engaged now. Now, we have met a number of the research people at the SEC on the research side, and they are extremely sophisticated. They know what they're talking about, and the level of sophistication of their questions suggested, okay, now they're moving deeply into this. And we answered those questions. We have not heard back. That's a good sign too. They never tell you that you've satisfied them, but if you don't hear from them, that usually means that you have satisfied the answers to the requests. So that was new, and we also know that BlackRock got questions. Mm-hmm. We put our answers in first. I think they have followed, and I'm not sure about anyone else. Mm-hmm. That was different, and it says, okay, there's movement, and we are the first in line. Just because we kept refiling, others gave up, and so, but we just kept refiling. We just kept, and we became first in line. So David against Goliaths, right? And that's January 10th is the final deadline. Mm-hmm. They've been able to push it. It's very orchestrated. Push it, but the final, they either approve or deny on January 10th. And
what do you think?
Well, again, I mentioned something has changed.
Right.
That's good. The odds have gone up. There is only one wrinkle, just occurred to us in the last couple of days. They will approve a number at once. It won't be just one. That would be choosing a winner, given the way ETFs work. But we know Grayscale wants to convert to an ETF. I don't know how practical that is, or if the SEC will let them, or if they need a special dispensation. I just don't know the rules. Grayscale has said it will sue the SEC again if it denies the conversion. If they were to do that before January 10th, I don't know if that would throw everything up in the air again. I just
for
don't
the
know.
others as well.
For everyone.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
So there's still a lot of...
All right, let's keep it going here. Stuart Algerati is talking about the SEC has been gutted. Who should regulate crypto? I'm just going to play a little bit of this, 8 minutes long. I don't want to play the whole thing, but I want to just put this on your radar. Let's hear a little bit about it, and then I will go on, and I'm going to play the Jake Claver stuff because that's really cool.
So, George read the mission of the SEC, and unfortunately, that looks pretty on their website. All of their actions when it comes to crypto are having the exact opposite effect. Consumers are not being protected. All of the crypto bankruptcies that we've seen in the US, the consumers are left holding the bag in bankruptcy court, last in line as unsecured creditors. Bad actors are not being kept out of the system. See Sam Bankman-Fried on trial as we speak. Capital market formation, VCs are not leaning in to this industry in the US for fear that all roads will lead to the SEC. So they're doing just the opposite. As I said earlier, regulation by enforcement is a really important term. I like it for a whole bunch of reasons, not the least of which is the SEC hates it, and they say that we're not engaging regulation by enforcement. We're just enforcing the laws, and the laws are clear, and that's the problem. Not only are the laws not clear when it comes to how to apply the securities laws to crypto. We have a regulatory gap that the SEC itself recognizes, and we know that because we got their emails. But we also know that because the SEC has been working intentionally, at least since 2015, to foster greater uncertainty in the marketplace. And again, we have that from their internal emails. We know that the general counsel of the SEC advised senior officials at the SEC that they are fostering greater uncertainty rather than bringing clarity. And George, I think you'll appreciate this point given the work you do. A regulator likes uncertainty because they can play with uncertainty by not defining the rules and therefore punish the market through this regulation by enforcement. And if you get an SEC enforcement letter, investigative subpoena, it's a very expensive and grueling process. The process becomes the punishment. Our CEO has been very public that our defense against the SEC has cost us well over $100 million, approaching $150 million. Very few startup companies or privately held companies have those sorts of resources, and that's what the SEC counts on, that they'll surrender through a settlement, and then they can point to the settlement and you say, see, the laws are clear, but that's not clear laws. That's basically leveraging the uncertainty to bully smaller players and either, as I say, force them offshore, force them into a settlement, or force them into bankruptcy court.
I should say maybe what's the effect on the incentive to innovate?
Yeah. Well, that's the slow pitch that I'll answer in a minute, but just to go back, to hit some of the points that you've just talked about. A regulator's job, an unelected bureaucrat who's running that agency, who is a political appointee who will come and go in 3.5 years, their job is to apply law, not to make law. And I think the agency's lost its way because it's trying to make law through regulation by enforcement, and that's unconstitutional. And the third thing, when you're faced with regulation by enforcement and regulatory overreach, fight. Defend yourself.
All right, fight and defend yourself, right? The U.S., guys, is so back to front right now. Companies are going over to Dubai, Switzerland, Singapore, other places, right? The U.S. is not serious about crypto, and it's pretty sad, right? You have the biggest capital markets in the world, and anyways, all right. So Jay Claver, he deals with a lot of people. He runs a family office. He deals with people between $20-100 million. They need help with custodying crypto. They need help with family estate planning, stuff like that. he was at Swell, and he was just at this Ripple Swell event, and I got to ask him all kinds of questions. And so I have a couple different clips here I'm going to go through, and I think you guys are going to get value out of the conversation. This whole conversation is probably going to be posted tomorrow, but let's take a couple clips right now and check us out.
You did say the mysterious word there, polysign. So I have to ask you, we did talk about this last time we met, maybe 5-6 months ago. Jack McDonald, he's been kind of out talking a little bit more about polysign. Is there anything, maybe that you can share with us that maybe not everybody knows about polysign that now you feel more comfortable sharing?
So the custody rule that's been proposed by the SEC, polysign's really built out their entire business to fit that model. And so what does that look like? There's going to be a lot of people that aren't familiar with what was proposed back in February. What the proposal is, if you're going to earn a yield on your digital assets or use them in some capacity, you're going to have to hold them with a qualified custodian. And even to trade on these exchanges, because of the situations with FTX and Celsius and Voyager, they want to segregate the custody of the assets and the financial trading or products that are built around it. So polysign has an escrow function that's inherent to their platform where they can lock your assets in the wallet, and then they'll issue a trade line onto another platform, say an exchange,
This is pretty cool.
Maybe it's delegation to a staking pool or a liquidity pool that allows you to participate without ever risking the asset itself. It's just locked in their custody. And so
that's cool.
I don't think that that's anything anybody else is discussing. And I'm very confident that ends up being how this space looks within the next 3 to 6 months here. I think that proposed custody rule will pass. And in order to trade your assets or use them in a capacity to produce income, they're going to have to be held in qualified custody and escrowed for that functionality. Polysign's not the only platform. Well, they are the only one that has inherently built in. There's other solutions provided like Copper Clearloop that are working with custodians to facilitate that functionality. So they provide the escrow on one side and the trade line on the other for wherever it's going. But yeah, they wouldn't be building these things out if that wasn't how it's going to go.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people don't.
All right, let me just play this next clip for you.
I tend to think that the market, we're getting close, but we're still in this very speculative, buy the rumor, sell the news type market. We're getting into this utility market. How far out do you think the real CBDC tokenization of stocks, bonds, derivatives, all of that? How far do you think this realistically is in your mind? Is this months or is this still years away?
We're actively working with R3 on a project right now, and I mean that's the tokenization of an actual financial product. Probably 6 months away from implementation with institutions for the POC. And then maybe another year after that to get to scale and provide all the ancillary things that we would like to do with it. So, I think the next 12 to 24 months is a realistic time frame for CBDCs to become prevalent and used. A lot of the major economies are already in the pilot or about to launch their CBDC. I know that Ripple said that like half the world would be running on CBDCs, or they expected half the world to be running on CBDCs by 2024. I mean, we're November here, almost December. So I don't know if they'll make that timeline. But after Swell and meeting with their team there, I can tell you that there are a lot of countries that are making large strides in their progress with CBDCs. And it's on the short-term horizon here. The financial products and markets, I think will, probably be closer to the end of that timeline next 24 months.
That's cool. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, as we get into maybe 20.
Next 24 months. Okay. So we talk about a couple more things here I want to play for you, and then I'm trying to get you out of here with under an hour. Hold on.
And I try to explain that to people too, right, on my channel, right, that you got to look at the value of stock market, the bond market, the derivative market, right, how much gold, silver, diamonds, right, all of real estate, right, art, all of this value, eventually will get tokenized, but it's not going to be in 2023, and it's probably not going to be in 2024, right? It's still going to take time. We don't even have yet regulation globally for crypto. We have just kind of hotspots around the world, right? So, what is, I know we kind of, you answer this in a bit of a way, but, do you still see this as, how can I rephrase this question? Where is your head at as far as when do you think we will see the utility price for XRP and not the speculation price for XRP?
I'm hopeful that Swift starts using it for instant settlement, right? so that's what I'm waiting on. Cross-border payments. That's what they've been screaming for the past 3 years. Beating their chest on, and now I think that's done. I don't know when it'll be implemented. Maybe this weekend's supposed to be something for ISO right on the 19th. I don't get too wrapped up in that anymore. There's been a lot of dates like that just didn't pan out for anything. We'll see if this one works out, but I think that'll be the catalyst where we see some pretty significant price appreciation and utility for the asset, and does it, do you need utility first or do you need liquidity first? I kind of believe that you need liquidity in the asset for it to be used, and for that to really happen at scale, you're going to need these ETFs to come in and more liquidity to be in the digital asset space, right? So that market cap needs to jump maybe 10x. We need 10 trillion here before we can really provide utility at scale, because until then you can move just like what ODL is used for right now. There's nascent markets around the world where people don't want to hold the counterparty's currency, and they'll rent the XRP to be able to facilitate those payments and settle. Uphold announced the partnership to be able to facilitate the transaction between XRP and whatever other fiat they want to settle in not too long ago, which was cool. I was glad to see that partnership announced. But I think we need the ETFs to go first. I think liquidity will pour into this space when the ETFs get announced. And then once we've got the liquidity in, I think that they can pull the trigger on actually using it at scale for Swift transactions.
There you go. So you need the liquidity first, my friends. Until we have that liquidity, it's going to be very difficult to move trillions of dollars a day. All right. And then I have one more thing I asked him. This whole conversation is really good, and I think you guys will find a lot of value in this. Let me play one more clip, and then we'll move on.
But we're thankful to have him. What was, I wanted to ask you this, and I kind of skipped it on my thing, but when you were at Swell and you were talking with, other leaders, that are building in the XRP space, what was the coolest kind of use case, right? Because we saw this partnership with HBAR and Fubon Bank, where they're doing, tokenization, and they're doing HELOCs.
Mm-hmm. They talked about that.
That's really fascinating, right? Because a process that used to take, or still does take, weeks, if not months, can happen in seconds, where that's not only great, amazing for the customer, but now the bank can actually do more business and loan more money, create more value into the economy, grow the economy. Was there any other use cases that really kind of stood out to you, like, whoa, that's really cool, man, that's kind of cutting edge?
Well, so that one was prominent. There's a lot of people that are looking to tokenize real estate, and I think it's gonna be done a little bit different than a lot of people might think in the short term here. I think that it'll be securities tokens that are issued against the LLCs that own the underlying asset, and you can facilitate things that way until there's real actual legal clarity around NFTs and the ownership and the implications of holding those and what all that entails. So I think that we're probably a couple years out on what that looks like. Honestly, they really harped on the boring pieces of this while we were there, which, I'd love to tell you that somebody had tokenized Airbnb or like, but we're really not there yet. You really have to have the fundamentals in place before you can scale the financial products and all of the wonderful things that people want to have around this, right? Like I want collateralized lending. There's just a lot of things. So the two main components that they discussed there as well were, one, custody, Medico, the acquisition of that company. The gentleman that spoke, that was the president or CEO of that company, was very well spoken, big vision. They want to be the custodian that provides the software that basically custodies all tokenized assets long term. And they might get it. I mean, they're acquired by Ripple, and they're integrated with all the banks.
All right, guys, I'm gonna let you watch the full interview when it comes out, probably tomorrow. But if you just want to grow your knowledge around XRP and ISO and ETFs, Jake, incredible. He's got a ton of information willing to share. All right, a couple of things about the economy here. S&P real estate sector is now just 5% off the entire S&P 500. Even a low 2008 in the worst real estate crisis of all time, this percentage barely dropped below 6%. Meanwhile, demand for commercial real estate CRE loans is now at 2008 levels. So this is the United States, guys. Office buildings prices are down 30% over the last year, and apartments are down 15%. Understand this, that a lot of the loans, 70% of these loans for businesses are tied up in smaller regional banks. They're not tied up in like the JP Morgans and the Wells Fargos. So that means that if the buildings that they're giving loans for are not worth, or they've taken a 30% drop in the market, right? And they can't sell the space, right? And companies, what they do is they do these by balloon loans. And what they do is they do interest only loans. And so every couple of years they refinance this debt over and over again. And if it's profitable, it makes sense. They keep doing it. But if it becomes unprofitable, they might just let the loan go. And if they let the loan go, they usually set up different entities for these different buildings. And so that if one building doesn't work out or something happens or they get sued or whatever it is, they can't take down the bigger fund or the bigger company that does this, right? And so what you worry about is what happens to when all these loans come back to these banks. They're already hurting because of the higher interest rates. What happens when these loans start coming back? And can these banks take billions of dollars more of hits, right? This is a real problem. This is a real problem, and we should be keeping track of it. Today is the first day in months with significant lower treasury yields and stocks. We also see weakness in commodities while the U.S. dollar index is falling. After two constructive inflation reports, price action has never been completely opposite to what we have seen this year. All while interest rate odds are down to 0%, and rate cuts are expected to begin in 2024. May 2024 is when they should start dropping rates. Remember, if you go back in history and you look at when the Fed usually starts cutting interest rates, that's when a recession type event happens, or the stock market at least dips down. So let me see if I can bring in this chart for you. Fed rate cuts, market, stock market. Let me just show you this. Let me see if I can pull up this image, if I can remember correctly. Is that what I want? No, it doesn't go back far enough. Recessions. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this for you. Okay, so here's kind of, I mean, not exactly what I wanted to pull up, but here you go. So when the Fed pivots, stocks crash by more. So this is Great Financial Crisis, 50%, August 2007. Here's the bottom, February 2009. Dot-com bubble was 38%. This wasn't too bad. Gulf War, double dip recession back in the 80s. 73, 41%, and then 69, 18%. So it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out next year. But this is something to keep an eye on if you are actively trading in the stock market. Let me see if I can pull up a better photo here for you. No, I cannot. Oh, wait, here's a better photo. Fed rate cuts in response to recession or crisis, right? So usually when the Fed cuts rates is when something is already broken or breaking, right? And so you just want to be very, very careful out here in the market. And this is why I think the crypto markets might do well, right? Because people might be afraid to get into the stock market, but the crypto market is just going to be going through its utility kind of boom, right? And you're going to have all these CBDC announcements, and 2024 and 2025 should be one of the biggest bull markets we've ever seen in our lives, and that's what we're really getting ready for and prepared for, okay? I just wanted to put that on your radar. Check this out. Walmart falls 8% as CFO says October trends have made them pause and rethink the health of the consumer. More specifically, Walmart said that they saw a sharp fall off in sales during the last 2 weeks in October. So what I want to point out here is when one of the biggest chains in America, and I don't know, is Walmart in the world? I think they're in the world too, right? When they are not seeing a demand for products, that means it goes back to the factories, right? Because if they're not selling stuff on the shelves, they don't need to keep ordering all of this stuff. And when you have a slowdown in the factories and in production and manufacturing, which you are having right now, that leads to layoffs, right? And more people that are out of a job. So this is kind of one of the indicators that I look at, sales in different markets to kind of feel where we are heading over the next 6 months. So just understand that this is always a lagging effect, but this is going to hit, globally, the manufacturing side, which it already has. If you look at a place like China and some other hotspots around the world, like Germany too, car manufacturers, all the parts that goes into those cars like that, they're having a really, really, really tough time. This is the year yet and testament how dependent the market has become on the Magnificent Seven. $1 trillion in tech stocks often move 20% in a matter of days now. Needless to say, the stock market dynamics are changing, right? So this is the NASDAQ 100 to Russell 2000 is now 10% above 2020 peak, 6% above 2000 peak. In other words, the NASDAQ has never been more expensive relative to the Russell 2000. So I do think you're going to see a market correction here shortly, but I'm not a stock market expert. Maybe somebody that is can let me know. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do. I wanted to talk with you for about an hour. I want to see if there's any questions I can answer before I kind of get out of here. I didn't want to kind of leave you here for an hour and a half. I know my chats get a little bit longer and people don't have quite an hour and a half to spend watching everything. So I wanted to try to just make it a little bit more sweet and compact. You can see here, this is just in the Cryptonairz Discord. We're just kind of just talking about markets. We have our trades channel here where we're talking about different trades that the community is getting into. And so, man, if you want to get into some of these trades, if you want to get into the community, let us know. We'd be love to have you. But here's just some of the wins that we've had in the past, what is this? Past maybe 30 days, up 152%, up 222%. Let me see here. A tour, this one went up like 600%. Here's JP at Solana at $19. I mean, that's gone up a couple 100%. This is a project that was posted in the Cryptonairz community. We talked about this last week. This has gone up 200%. 67% for this project. Man, a lot of just different things being posted. Sin City's up 200%. I mean, Tia, this one went up 180%. Hera is up 212%. Storage Chain up went up 500%. Casper is up 2,539% since we posted it. Render's up 337%. There is a link down in the description for a free 7 days for Cryptonairz. We would love to have you. All right, any questions before I jump out of here? Be interesting to see what happens over the weekend with ISO. Chris, I hope something great happens, but I really, part of me just, I don't think so, man. I really don't. I really don't. I gotta trust my gut. I gotta look at the information in the space. Utility's still not here, and just because ISO is being rolled out doesn't mean that crypto is going to start being used. We just need to have an open and honest conversation about that. You might get a pump over the weekend, and then you might get a massive dump next week. We'll see. We'll see. Nobody has a crystal ball. It's going to be hard to guess what's going to happen, but that's what I think is going to happen. Let me just check Twitter here, see if there's anything that's come up here in the last few days. The bull run has started in 2023. I mean, I think you're just getting an end of the year pump. I wouldn't say this is the bull run. I think you're going to get the market's going to readjust down here. But hey, to each their own. Steven Narioff's dropping all this narrative stuff on Ethereum. I think that can have a market impact. Man, I'm really hoping Storage Chain just does a massive move, man. Can you imagine just a $10 million market cap for Storage Chain? Oh, I'd start crying. I literally would start crying. Why the APAC region is at the center of crypto, Singapore. Oh, this might be a cool clip. Let me play this.
I think Central and Southern Asia and Oceania, they're leading the way when it comes to crypto adoption.
One of the most interesting things about this region, when we look at the digital assets and what the data tells us about what's going on in the ground in terms of what kind of grassroots adoption is really looking like, is there's a lot of diversity in terms of the use cases that people are interested. If we look at some of the other markets, you perhaps see a lot more in the sort of trading space. When you look over here, you certainly see that in Southeast Asia, but you also see interesting use cases in the sort of gaming community, in online gambling. If you see some interesting use cases in some of the more e-commerce space, you know, if we think about exciting things like the partnership between Grab and Circle that we've seen, that kind of integration of digital assets into the real world economy, moving outside of what we think of sort of the financial system to some very real world use cases, and that's what makes it so exciting and I think really different. You just have that diversity that you don't necessarily have or see to the same extent in other places.
Man, that is pretty cool. Let me share one thing with you guys before we get out of here. Just want to make sure that I share the link to our community because, you know, people often are looking for help in the crypto space and they don't necessarily know where to find it. So let me see, where is the WAP link? It's not in here. That's helpful. Give me 1 second. Let me grab it for you so you can take a look at our community if you so choose to over this long weekend. As the products, let me just grab this for you guys real quickly here. Cryptonairz 7-day free trial. Boom. Actually, I want to do the one with Crypto Sensei video. Boom. Let me go ahead and pull this up and let me post it for you here. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I appreciate you. I'm going to take a few days off this weekend. We've had some issues with my wife's family in Brazil, and the next couple of days probably be hard for our family. So I'm going to be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, try to regroup, refresh my batteries, and take some time for that. So I appreciate all of you. I wish you all a blessed weekend. I'll be back before the holiday season starts, and we'll update you on some crypto news on Tuesday of next week. I look forward to doing that, and I hope you all have a very blessed day. And if I can do anything for you, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'll be there to help you. All right, aloha.